What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is David Makes Man, season 2, episode 4. So this is Shella's episode, right? We start off the episode with a little Meg Thee Stallion, savage. We see that she got 20 hustles, right? But she is hustling all while taking care of the neighborhood. We see her, she rents out her parking spot because, remember we saw last season how the Ville is situated like right off of a residential neighborhood, and so they need places to park their 3-4 cars that don't fit in their driveway, and so she rents out her parking space $100 a month, right? But we also see her giving out snacks to the kids who she knows probably otherwise wouldn't get breakfast, right? She's selling for $5 to the adults though. Okay, she still got her hustle. And then we see that she does it looks like it's a big old like situation where she's on live. She's not really selling sex, but she's being sexual. Then somebody knocks on the door and they want to get their lashes done, and it seems like this is something she does as well. So what we are seeing is that she got all these hustles, right? She's moving, but at the same time she's like the mayor of the Ville, right? Everybody knows her, everything goes through her, and like I said, she got 20 different hustles. So we see her putting lashes on one of her girlfriends, and they're talking about real estate, and her girlfriend is like, listen, you need to get up on this real estate situation. Like, I got 2 houses in escrow and I'm about to close on a 3rd. The money is flowing, the land is going, and you are smart enough to make this happen. Now while they're having this conversation, she hears gunshots. And she jumps and she was like, girl, do you hear that? And her friend is like, girl, what you talking about? And so she runs outside and she looks to where JG got shot. And throughout this episode, we're getting reference to the young man that shot JG. Now, we saw the situation, the way it went down. It wasn't in malice. It looked like he had been bullied and he thought he was shooting at the guys that bullied him. He ended up shooting JG. We'll get a little bit more of that later on. But, we see that again, Shella is connected with that family and is keeping up with what's going on with that family and everything like that. And so, but we definitely see that she's dealing with a little PTSD. And I don't want to overuse that term, but y'all know what I'm saying. The little trauma from seeing JG get shot. Because let's be clear, you grew up in the Ville, baby. You've heard gunshots before. You've seen, well, you might not have seen, but you've heard gunshots before. But I think the connection, her up close and personal connection, and then the connection to JG, I think is just really messing with her. So the next day, she's planting flowers. Miss Elijah is telling her, go left, go right, go up, go down, and getting on her nerves. But again, she is the mayor. She is planting these flowers for Miss Elijah. She got a whole attitude about it. Miss Elijah said, listen, you are doing it wrong. Let me come down there and show you where to put my flowers. So as he's coming down the steps, which of course she's telling him, and I apologize if I'm using the wrong pronoun. I think the pronoun is they, but I'm not sure, so I'm just gonna say him. As Miss Elijah is coming down the steps to come talk to to come down and tell her where to put the flowers, she looks up and who is standing over her is David. And of course she's like, David, what you doing here? And he was like, well, I'm here doing a survey, we're gonna do some improvement to the Ville. She was like, improvement? She was like, that's a whole reconstruction project. Like, what are you talking about? And while this is going on, Miss Elijah comes down and sees David. And of course, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. Oh my gosh, David, I can't believe you down here. And Miss Elijah says, listen, I got something to tell you. I got something for you. And runs off. And Shella is trying to get Elijah to calm down. Because of course, we know that something is off with Miss Elijah, right? We know that. And, him and David and Shella end up getting into this argument because Shella sees through the bullshit off the break. She was like, listen, you being down here, you got this whole portfolio, you on your your grown man businessman move, like something ain't right. Like, what you not telling me? And he was like, what you mean? He was like, listen, I'm working with a company who wants to put condos here that's going to help everybody, help everybody down here. And she was like, how's that going to help me? She was like, that ain't going to help me. Miss Elijah ends up falling, so they got to go take care of Elijah. They get Elijah up to the apartment, and we see that, listen, Miss Elijah ain't got nothing in the refrigerator. You know, the house doesn't have the same level of opulence that it once had, you know. And David is seeing it really kind of for the first time, you know. And I'm sorry, while they're doing that, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. While they're doing that, we see David walking around, and who does David run into? Was Marcella? What's the girl name? Marcella. Start with an M, child. And of course, they do what they do best. But let me tell you something. She got David's number because David is like, when did you stop liking me? She was like, what are you talking about? She said, I know you. The only time that you got a smile and you nice is either when you want something or people catch you off guard. And I thought that was so deep when she said, or people catch you off guard. Meaning, when David knows that he is on, there's a whole affect, and she sees him for who he really is. And so she says, listen, you coming at me with a smile and got some nice things to say, I'm not buying it because I know you. I know you. I know who you are. I see you for your works. So the surveyors are walking around the Ville. They're talking about, we didn't know how expansive this area was. We didn't know how much work this was going to be. And David is giving them the, okay, and like, do your job. And then he even has this whole moment where he's like reciting the job to the foreman, as if the foreman don't know what his job is. I was like, this is so weird. It's just so weird. But it's just like as if the foreman doesn't know what his job description is. So again, Shella is talking to Miss Elijah, letting Elijah is so excited to see David, and she's like, don't let the smooth taste fool you. He is here, trying to put up, basically trying to push us out of our land. And of course, the whole time David is there, David is having flashbacks of Sky and, the whole shooting situation. Now, David and Marcella end up arguing, yelling at the top of their lungs, to the point where Shella and Elijah have to be like, whoa, what's going on down there? Y'all arguing? And he was like, we ain't arguing. This is how we talk. This is how we communicate with each other. We're not arguing. And so, she tells David, she was like, listen, you didn't think you was going to have to, like, you thought you was going to push your plan through and you wasn't going to have to deal with, the conservationists and all this other stuff, but we here, we're going to work together, and I'm not going to let you, push your big plans through and ruin the environment. Like, we're not going to let that happen. So David ends up going upstairs to talk to Miss Elijah. And Miss Elijah is like, listen, I know you. First, he was talking and he thought he was talking to JG. He started talking about him being a police detective. And then David's like, what are you talking about? I'm David. He was like, I know you, David. He said, now sit down and talk to me. He said, listen, I know you. Like, you got a plan. Like, this ain't what it seems. This is not about what it looks like on the outside. Tell me what's really going on. Give me the real deal. And so you see David's face lights up, because I think for the first time he feels like he's got an ally in this. And he's like, oh, okay, you want to hear it? Here it go. And he proceeds to start talking about the plan. And he's saying exactly what I thought because again, in the first episode, I was like, it's got to be deeper than this. It's got to be deeper than this. But I don't think it is. He's telling Miss Elijah, look, I'm going to, help, because I'm going to put this program, I'm going to get this project done. We're going to improve the area down here, which is going to give me a seat at the table, which, I'll be in the mayor's office, right hand to the mayor if everything works out. And then I'll really be able to help people. And it's almost like he's willing to sacrifice the people in the Ville to get, in his mind, to help out in the long run. Like, the bigger picture is for us to get to ... So I got to sacrifice y'all for right now for me to get to that next level. And so like I said, so Miss Elijah knows that David got more going on, and like I said, I don't really see where it's all that more going on. But anyway, Shayla's like, I'm not going to take this line down. She goes and she confronts Marissa about it. Marissa, that's her name. She goes and confronts Marissa about it, and she wants to know what's really going on. Like, if you're going to give me the real deal. And so Marissa lets her know what's going on and why she's there, as far as the conservation and the water and all of that. And Shella was like, okay, that's all good and fine that you're here to protect the water, but I'm here to protect the people. And so she ends up calling like a meeting of the, the tenants in the building. And the tenants, like, they hear it, but they really ain't. They don't seem to be as upset or as concerned as Shella is. And they tell her, listen, forget about calling the commissioner. Call his mama. Call David's mama, because David's mama ain't gonna let this go down. Like, you know, they really feel like Gloria is gonna stop all of this. Glow is gonna stop it. It ain't gonna happen. If Glow, you know, then put her 2 cents in, it's not going down. So, then we talk a little bit more about what's going on with the young man that shot JG. So we see where JG, well, he's been arrested. Of course, he's not going to get bond. He's been accused of shooting a police officer, so he ain't going to get no bond. And the mom is really struggling with that, so they've talked a little bit about that or whatever. So then we end up seeing Shayla ends up walking in on David and Marissa. Child, they down in the laundry room getting it in. I said, what? Now, I saw that coming, but I ain't see it coming in that moment. I said, whoa, my. my. So, I'm sorry. My bad. I forgot to turn my ring off. So, she ends up calling Glow. And Glow is like, what are you talking about? Like, all of this is too much for me right now. Like, I ain't understanding what you're talking about. First of all, you telling me that David is trying to get the Ville torn down. Now you telling me that David is, getting it in with Marissa. Like, she don't even know who Marissa is, I mean, she didn't call her by Marissa's name, so she still didn't know who it was. And of course, JG is listening, and JG is like, see, David, he ain't the same. Like, that ain't who we think he is. Like, he's not who we think he is. Like, he's not the guy we always thought him to be. And David, again, before he makes a final leave out of the Ville, he checks in on Miss Elijah. And again, that's when he notices that so much is different in Elijah's apartment. Like, like I said, all of the things are gone, and Miss Elijah is sitting there cooking some soup. And David was like, why you eating soup? He was like, well, that's what I got a taste for. And he was like, well, you don't want anything else? Like, I can bring you some groceries. And he was like, well, I'm waiting for your brother to bring me some groceries. He said he was going to bring them. And David was like, well, nobody told you? Like, then you know that he got shot. And of course, he said, well, don't nobody tell me nothing around here anymore. Like, I didn't know. But mind you, him and Shayla had a whole conversation at the beginning of the episode about the JG getting shot and how he's better, and nothing gonna keep JG down. And even Miss Elijah was like, I don't know what in the world made him decide to be a cop, bad as he is or bad as he was, kind of thing. So David, he leaves that, and so he goes to see his mom after he leaves there, and he was like, why didn't you tell me about Miss Elijah? And his mother was like, what you talking about? And he was like, well, when's the last time you been down to the Ville? Like, when's the last time you been down there? And she was like, I see Miss Elijah all the time. He was like, yeah, Elijah comes here, but have you been down there? Like, his apartment, his this, his that. And, JG is like, well, don't come through here now act like you're going to lecture somebody. You ain't been down there. Like, I'd have been through there. Remember, I got shot there. So I know what's really going on down in the Ville. And, of course, JG has a whole attitude with David. So now his mama is confronting him about, what is this that you're doing down in the Ville? And who you in the laundry room with? And so he was like, I'm trying to help the Ville. Like, I got this plan. We're going to redevelop it. And she was like, boy, what makes you think that's going to help the Ville? And he's really trying to plead his case. And he's really trying to make it seem like he's doing something good. JG mad at him. His mama mad at him. And finally she was like, and who were you in the laundry room with? He was like, Marissa. She was like, Marissa? From middle school, Marissa? Like, what in the world? She said, David, I'm going to bed. He said, but Ma, she said, I'm tired. We could finish this conversation tomorrow because I'm tired. And so that ends up being a conversation. So then JG goes down and takes groceries to Miss Elijah, because after David said that he had no food in the house and that kind of thing, he ended up taking some groceries down there. And Elijah is telling JG, listen, David got a plan. Like, don't worry about it. David got a plan. And JG was like, David ain't who you think he is. Like, David is not the same guy. And Elijah was like, well, he saved us once before. I believe he's going to save us again. Because remember, him and David had reminisced on that whole, when David took over the whole prescription drug situation. And JG was like, Yeah, whatever. Don't be waiting on David to come and save you, because that ain't what David here to do. That ain't even what his mission is. So then he goes to check in on Shayla, and of course, again, you feel that sexual energy. You feel that tension. And he was like, "I just came to thank you again for saving my life." And you see that they like right there, but then they don't really cross the line, but they right there to do it until she brings up. Basically, she wants JG to do something about saving. I think the boy's name is Sloan or Sylvester. It starts with an S. The boy that shot him. And JG was like, "Okay, but he shot me." And she was like, "Yeah, but he didn't mean it. It was an accident. Like, you know what happened. You were there." He was like, "Yeah, I was there. I got shot." And she was like, "Well, you need to help him." He was like, "That's out of my control at this point. Like, he shot a cop." And so, of course, she's like, "But you can do something." And he was like, "Listen, I need to go home. And I need to focus on my recovery." And then, because he had a whole flashback moment too, obviously, for being there again. And then Shayla was talking to him about David. "Well, you need to get your brother." And so it's funny because he had been he went off on David to his face, told his mama David won't shit, told Miss Elijah David won't shit. But then when she tried to come at him about David, you saw David, he felt like he felt the need to defend David. But that's what brothers do. Like, I can say it, but you can't say it. And Miss Elijah's family, so that don't count. But you can't. You not family. You can't say it. And when David, so the last scene we see is David, and we see his image. He's in his mind seeing these new condos that he wants to set up. And the one thing his mother told him when they were arguing was, "David, you act like they weren't no good times in the Ville. Like, you act like everything was just hard times and hard living. We had some good times down there. And I need you to stop acting like life was just horrible in the Ville." And so in that final scene, we see him reminiscing on some of the fun times. We see him thinking back on some of the fun times down to the Ville, right? And so that was pretty much it. The last scene we see is Miss Stella with Miss Elijah back at the flowers, right? So anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.